Chapter 13. The Second Court Case. 25 years after Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in the old marketplace of Rouen, the political and spiritual landscape of France looked completely different. The English forces had been systematically driven out of the country, the king was firmly established on his throne, and the raw truth of Joan's mandate had been completely vindicated by history. But a massive, lingering legal problem remained. The official court records in Rouen still contained a finalized, written verdict that branded Joan as a condemned heretic, a fraud and a criminal. Even though she was gone, her family and her nation refused to let that fraudulent document stand as the official historical record. In 1455, Pope Calixtus III authorized a grand legal proceeding known to history as the Trial of Nullification, or the retrial of Joan of Arc. An elite panel of judges, theologians, and legal scholars convened to re-examine the original trial. They gathered testimony from over 100 witnesses, her childhood friends, the soldiers who fought by her side, and even the surviving clerks who had sat in the courtroom at Rouen. The investigation revealed that the first trial was a completely rigged, illegal operation driven by political malice and systemic fraud. On July 7, 1456, inside the Cathedral of Rouen, the court handed down a definitive, revolutionary verdict. The original conviction was declared completely null, void, and utterly without legal effect. Joan was pronounced entirely innocent. Her name was completely cleared, and the original document of condemnation was torn up and symbolically burned. The first verdict wasn't just revised or adjusted, it was nullified. It was treated as though it had never legally existed in the first place. The nullification of sickness. This grand historical reversal is the exact spiritual reality of what happened to your physical liabilities at the cross of Calvary. The enemy loves to walk up to the front porch of your mind and wave an old, terrifying document in your face. He points to your genetic history, your past moral failures, or your physical symptoms and screams, "Look at the record." The verdict of biology says your joints must break down. The verdict of genetics says your heart must fail. The verdict of your past mistakes says you deserve to carry this chronic fatigue. If you don't understand the law of nullification, you will look at that written document of sickness, assume it has legal authority, and submit to the diagnosis. But 2,000 years ago, the highest court of heaven held a definitive retrial over your life. Jesus stepped into the courtroom, took the written record of every curse, every disease, and every physical liability that was stacked against you, and completely nullified the paperwork. Colossians chapter 2 verse 14. Having wiped out the handwriting of requirements that was against us, which was contrary to us. And he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross. The word wiped out, in the original Greek, means to erase, blot out, and completely obliterate a legal document until no trace of the original writing remains. Heaven didn't just give you a temporary medical deferment or a scriptural band-aid to help you manage the pain. The highest court in the universe looked at the enemy's case against your body and declared it completely null, void, and without legal effect. Your body is a closed case. When a physical symptom flares up in your tissues or a doctor hands you a frightening chronic diagnosis, you are looking at a document that has already been legally shredded by the King of Kings. The pain in your body is trying to enforce a verdict that no longer exists in the heavenly archives. It is a fraudulent warrant being served by a rogue, defeated officer. You must train your mind to look right through the natural feedback of your nervous system and treat the sickness as a thoroughly debunked illegal lie. You do not go to prayer trying to convince God to nullify the disease today. You go to prayer to enforce the fact that the nullification was already finalized 2,000 years ago. enforcing the sovereign nullification. To walk in absolute, enduring physical freedom, you must refuse to give a single millimeter of legal recognition to the enemy's paperwork. You do not debate the symptoms, you do not manage the diagnosis, and you do not panic over a lab report. You present the court with the final ruling of the cross. When a pain pattern attempts to settle into your body, you stand on your porch like an authorized bailiff, hold up the finished contract, and deliver a cold internal legal decree. Sickness, I am serving you with a final notice of nullification. This symptom is an illegal, fraudulent piece of paperwork that has no standing in this house. The handwriting of requirements that was written against my physical body was completely wiped out, obliterated, and nailed to the cross 2,000 years ago. My rightness status is an unassailable heavenly fact, and my flesh is the private property of the true King. I refuse to recognize your diagnosis, and I refuse to negotiate with a canceled contract. Your warrant is void, your lease is destroyed, and your authority is completely zero. Pack up your camp, extinguish your fire, and clear the property right now. Case closed. By anchoring your mind in the settled historical reality of the trial of nullification, you instantly shut down the emotional friction, fear, and anxiety in your thoughts. Your nervous system drops into a state of absolute chemical peace. You step out of the courtroom struggle entirely, allowing the resident engine of resurrection life inside your spirit to effortlessly sweep through your frame, smash the enemy's illegal blockade, and manifest full, vibrant, and unbroken vitality in every single cell of your body.